I'm right back at you with another one. And here we have FYB DJ's Homicide Report. FYB DJ's Homicide Report. FYB DJ's Homicide Report. And if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button and thumb this video up as it gets my videos out to new viewers. And that builds up my subscribers and it keeps me motivated to bring out all these cases and all the other content that I'm bringing to my channel. I just started this channel, I mean, probably about a month ago, or or so, probably around, was it March 2nd or so, somewhere around there. So I appreciate all the support, man, that I've gotten thus far. And so yeah, just keep liking those videos so we can keep getting them out. And I appreciate everybody. All right. Now we're jumping into this. This is a Chicago Police Department case supplementary report. This is an exceptionally clear, closed death of the offender. Homicide in the first degree. Code is 0110. And we have a date of occurrence of May 28th, 2022, 17:02 hours. Date this document was submitted was November 10th, 2022. We have number of victims 2, number of offenders 3, number of arrested 0. Secondary location is a yard. Hate crime, no. Gang related, no. All right, this is a field investigation, exceptionally clear, closed. Death of offender report. We have one victim listed, Richardson Lawrence E., male, black, 38 years. And we have another victim, Washington Derek T., Jr., male, black, 29 years. We have suspects, Richardson Lawrence, male, black, 38 years. And actually, I believe that's the same. The victim is the suspect in this case. All right, and we have relationship of victim to offender, Washington Derek acquaintance, Richardson Lawrence other, redacted acquaintance friend, additional info deceased. I have a redacted female, black, 25 years. Relationship to a Washington Derek as brother. And we have a Derek Washington, unknown, refused, 29 years. Unknown. Victim injuries, gunshot, handgun, cause, weapon, firearm. Extent was fatal, injured by offender. All right, scrolling down to see if we can get to an investigation. We have I think we're getting to an investigation. We have weather and lighting. At the time of the homicide, 70 degrees Fahrenheit and partly cloudy. May 28th, 2022. Victims 2. First victim, Lawrence Richardson. Injuries: 3 gunshot wounds to right chest, 2 gunshot wounds lower right quadrant, 2 gunshot wounds to right groin, 2 gunshot wounds right bicep, 2 gunshot wounds right thigh, 2 gunshot wounds right medial thigh, 1 forearm body left scapula, 2 gunshot wounds left medial bicep, 2 gunshot wounds left medial thigh, 1 gunshot wound lateral thigh. Taken to University of Chicago Medical Center. Victim number 2, Derek T. Washington Jr. Injury: 1 gunshot wound left torso, 1 gunshot wound right upper back, 1 gunshot wound left chest, 1 abrasion right hip. He's also taken to Chicago Medical Center. We have 1 in custody. I'm sorry, this is some evidence inventory. In custody, a female, 125. We have some arresting officers. Charges concerning, seems she was pulled over for some traffic offenses, and she had a fleeing and eluding of the officer. Charges rejected: first degree murder, obstruction of justice, destroy of evidence. All right, we have Cook County Assistant State's Attorney Felony Review Unit and 2 ASAs. Witness interviewed a female 139. She's an eyewitness in a video statement. A male 155 is a 911 caller, eyewitness. We have an investigation. Note, reporting detectives Beverin discovered on the original case incident report that the listed occurrence time was 15:04. This was an inadvertent mistake by the reporting officers. The actual time of occurrence was 17:02 hours. This time was verified by PCAD, 911 callers, shot spotter, time of 17:02:29, 13 rounds, and 17:03:47, 3 rounds. Body-worn camera times of responding officers and CFD arrival times. The reporting officers arrived on scene at the body-worn camera time of 17:06:45. In continuation of this incident, on May 28, 2022, during this on-scene investigation of this incident, reporting detective Beverin was on scene and previously reported speaking to police officer Miller, who had related that to reporting detectives that Redacted was on scene when officers had arrived to the shooting. While on scene, reporting detective Beverin spoke to Redacted of Derek Washington name. Redacted was on scene. Redacted provided Redacted. At 19:08 hours, reporting detective Beverin dialed this number and spoke to a female who verified her name as Redacted. Reporting detectives advised Redacted of the need to speak with Redacted as soon as possible. Redacted ended the call without response. Reporting detectives also called Redacted Derek Washington's Redacted. Reporting detectives advised Redacted of the need to speak with Redacted, verified Redacted. Excuse me. During this investigation, Sergeant Tehan spoke to the University of Chicago Police Department police officer Parker. Parker stated that he had engaged with a female black following an accident outside the emergency room at the University of Chicago. Parker stated that the female gave a name of Redacted and was driving a Redacted. Illinois registration Redacted. Detective Green called all the known and listed 911 callers, which are listed on her general progress reports. At this time, no callers were eyewitnesses to the shooting. Detective Green also began viewing the responding officer's body-worn camera footage. Synopsis of body-worn camera, police officer Gardner. Gardner arrived on the scene and began chest compressions on victim, Richardson. Gardner spoke to neighbors and someone stated that Richardson's nickname was Sin. Gardner's camera depicts Redacted on scene and was offered medical attention, which Redacted refused. Redacted stated that the victim in the white shirt on the ground was Derek Washington. Redacted brother. Redacted gave Redacted residence at Redacted South Bishop also stated that victim Richardson's nickname was Sin. Gardner received victim Richardson's full name, date of birth, and next of kin. Synopsis of body-worn camera, police officer Cordon arrived on scene and victims were on the ground. 5. Redacted South Bishop. A CPD sergeant and Redacted were rendering aid to Derek Washington. At one point in the video, Cordon approached Redacted, stated that Redacted and KNA, I think that's known as Derek Washington, and the other victim were shot. Redacted stated that Redacted was shot and said he ain't gonna let nobody just shoot him. Redacted again identified Redacted as Derek Washington. Redacted. Officers asked Redacted if Redacted lived at Redacted 20 South Bishop. Redacted stated no. He points to Richardson, lives here. He sells drugs out of here, 55 Redacted. Redacted then stated that Richardson, told Redacted that Washington, could not sell drugs there, 55 Redacted, and Richardson, sells crack out of the house, 55 Redacted, and that Richardson, had tried to sell crack out of her building, 55 Redacted, and Richardson, had got into it with her brother. Officers asked Redacted if she saw the guy that did this. Redacted yelled, him, pointing to Richardson. Officers asked, he shot him? Redacted yells, yes. Officers asked Redacted, that guy, Richardson, shot this guy, Washington? Redacted stated, yes. Officers asked, how'd that guy, Richardson, get shot? Redacted stated, Redacted, he ain't gonna let anyone just shoot him, A sergeant asked Redacted, do you know what he, pointing to Richardson, did with his gun? Redacted stated, I don't know. Someone took it. Officers asked Redacted, do you know where he is? Where his Washington's gun is? Redacted stated no. Officers eventually asked Redacted for Derek Washington's information, and for redacted information, see Corridon's full BWC for additional details. Um, Synopsis of body-worn camera by police officer Miller. Miller's camera was activated. Miller arrived on scene and the camera showed Redacted giving chest compressions to Derek Washington. Police officer Garner was observed giving chest compressions to Richardson. The camera showed Redacted stating, "Fuck him. He, Richardson, the one who shot Redacted." Miller asked Redacted, "Do you know his name?" Redacted stated, "No, fuck him. I don't give no fuck, excuse me." Miller asked what happened. Redacted stated, Richardson, sell drugs out his crib, so I guess he got into it with Redacted. Ain't nobody coming on this block, Miller asked. So they got into it with each other? Redacted stated, yes. A sergeant asked Redacted, did you see that? Redacted stated, no, I heard him. The sergeant asked, were you inside your house? Redacted stated, yes, I just left my brother. Miller asked, where were you at when you heard them? Redacted stated, in the crib. Miller received a name of a victim, Lawrence Richardson, from a male citizen. It is later learned that Redacted asked Redacted, did you see that? Redacted stated, no, I heard him. The sergeant asked, you were inside your house? Redacted stated, yes, I just left my brother. Miller asked, where were you at when you heard them? Redacted stated, in the crib. Miller received a name of a victim, Lawrence Richardson, from a male citizen. It is later learned that Redacted witness was walking with the male citizen. Redacted was wearing a light aqua color outfit. Miller conducted a name check on a PDT in a CPD squad car and observed one of Richardson's arrest photos and learned this Lawrence Richardson was one of the victims shot, who was lying to the right of the stairs at 55 Redacted South Bishop. See Miller's full BWC video for additional details. Date May 29th, 2022. At 13:35 hours, reporting detectives received a call from Sergeant Castaneda from the 007th District. Castaneda related that he was on a call on 55 Redacted South Bishop. This is the address of Redacted and Redacted Derek Washington. Castaneda stated that there was a Redacted on scene and had called the police requesting assistance in retrieving property from Redacted S. Bishop. Reporting detectives advised Castaneda to ensure the Redacted was not redacted. Castaneda related this was not redacted, was allowed to retrieve property. At 15:35 hours, a Redacted named Redacted called the area and advised reporting detectives that Redacted was Lawrence Richardson's Redacted. Reporting detectives updated Redacted on the case. Redacted gave reporting to 15:35 hours. A Redacted named Redacted called the area and advised reporting detectives that Redacted was Lawrence Richardson's Redacted. Reporting detectives updated Redacted on the case. Redacted gave reporting detectives Richardson's Redacted information of Redacted. At 15:40 hours, Redacted called the area. Redacted was inquiring about two sets of keys that may have been with Redacted Derek Washington. The keys belonged to Redacted. Both vehicles were in Redacted name. Reporting detectives advised Redacted that reporting detectives will check the file and with the other detectives. ATC personnel continued to check the surrounding houses for cameras. See ATC's report for additional information of video recovery. At 2012 hours, reporting detective Barron had authored a search warrant for the address of Redacted in order to search for a DVR. This residence had cameras affixed to the front porch and possibly would have a northbound view of Bishop towards 55 Redacted South Bishop. Reporting detectives and ATC personnel had knocked on the front doors to this residence with no response on May 28th and the 29th of 2022. Cook County ASA Alayu approved the search warrant. At 22:36 hours, Cook County judge signed the search warrant. On May 30th, 2022, reporting detectives in the 007th District officer served search warrant, Redacted Bishop. Reporting detectives Barron knocked and then announced his office as a Chicago police officer. After numerous knocks and no response, reporting detective Barron breached the front door to the building and to the front entrance to the first floor apartment. Reporting detectives and officers detained 3 male occupants inside the residence. Reporting detectives discovered that the camera wiring led to the front living room, dining room area. There was no DVR. The DVR was missing and the cameras were not recording. Officers conducted name checks of the 3 male occupants. One male had an outstanding warrant for his arrest. Redacted was processed in the 007th district. Reporting detectives left a copy of the search warrant on the dining room table, secured and locked the front door. Date June 3rd, 2022. On June 3rd, 2022, Detective Green had located a possible witness on a body camera worn by 007 District Sergeant D. Moore. Green had located a 911 caller with the number redacted. Reporting Detective Bayron conducted an accurate law enforcement database search for the phone number of redacted. The search revealed that this number was registered to an redacted. This address was redacted. The address of occurrence, 5520 South Bishop. Detective Green conducted a search in the CPD database and discovered and redacted. Reporting detectives were unable to view mugshot photos of this redacted. After watching Sergeant Moore's body-worn camera of this incident, reporting detectives discovered that redacted was the same person, redacted, a 911 caller, and possible eyewitness to the shooting. On Sergeant Moore's body-worn camera, reporting detectives observed Sergeant Moore approaching the front gate to a residence. Redacted, Sergeant Moore began to speak with a redacted wearing a neon green shirt and shorts. This redacted stated that the noise was fireworks. The redacted stated that she observed one of the victims hit the ground and she called 911. The redacted stated that she was able to observe the victims from her balcony. Sergeant Moore spoke with a male black subject. The subject is now known as redacted, stated the woman was with the long hair who was standing down the street from them and wearing all black is the person he observed running with the gun, and redacted thought she's the one who did it because redacted ran past my gate. Redacted later stated that he did not see her do it, but redacted saw her with the gun. Sergeant Moore spoke to the redacted wearing neon green. This redacted stated, "She did it. She did it," referring to the female with long hair, now known to reporting detectives as redacted. Sergeant Moore then walked towards this redacted with redacted. Moore spoke with redacted. Sergeant Moore asked redacted if she picked up the gun. Redacted denied this and did not know who picked up the gun. Redacted stated that redacted was upstairs when this incident happened. Reporting detectives learned that the address was redacted. Date June 5th, 2022. On June 5th, 2022 at 18:35 hours, redacted called the office. Redacted stated that she had returned to redacted to pick up some of redacted property. Redacted stated that redacted front and back door were kicked in and redacted property inside was flipped over in disarray. Reporting detectives advised redacted to call 911 and make a police report. Redacted also stated that redacted was afraid to return to the scene and that her vehicle was parked on the street near the address of occurrence. Redacted requested a police assistance to pick up redacted vehicle with a tow truck. Reporting detectives gave the number to the 007th district. Date June 8th, 2022. On June 8th, 2022 at 17:30 hours, reporting detectives received a call from the University of Chicago Police Department investigator Angel Martinez. Martinez stated that he was investigating the traffic accident involving Redacted and a University of Chicago Police Department squad car. Redacted had struck a police car and then left the scene of the accident. Reporting detectives related the circumstances of the homicide and stated that Redacted was a possible suspect. Martinez related that he would be proceeding to issue an arrest warrant for traffic violations for Redacted and would contact reporting detectives issue is located. At 19:50 hours, reporting detectives Bayron spoke to Redacted, related that Redacted was Lawrence Richardson's sister, Lawrence Richardson's Redacted, stated that Redacted reporting detectives advised her that reporting detectives had conducted a search warrant on Lawrence Richardson's apartment at Redacted in order to retrieve a possible DVR, which possibly corresponded to video cameras attached to this residence. Reporting detectives informed Redacted that the DVR had been removed and the cameras were not recording. Redacted was updated on the case. Synopsis of body-worn camera by Sergeant Haldak. Sergeant Haldak arrived on the scene and began assessing this incident. On his camera, a redacted black, now known as Redacted, entered the camera view. Redacted was beside Derek Washington's body and stood up with a cell phone in Redacted hand. Redacted is then heard saying, "Redacted, I gotta tell you what I did." Redacted then began to cry and became emotional. Sergeant Haldak asked Redacted, Who did this? Redacted says, him, pointing to Richardson. Later in the video, Redacted stated that she was not outside at the time of the shooting, but went running outside afterwards, and that he, Richardson, had just got into it with Redacted. Further stated that Redacted wasn't into it with him, Richardson. He think he run the block. Redacted further stated that there were not any guns on the ground when she got to her brother. On June 21st, 2022, at 16:04 hours, reporting detectives spoke to Redacted and updated her on the case. Reporting detectives advised Redacted the need to speak to Redacted and that she was possibly involved. During the days following the investigation, reporting detective Biren was in contact with Redacted. Reporting detectives continued to speak with Redacted about the need to speak with Redacted and that Redacted needed to contact reporting detectives immediately. Reporting detectives periodically checked past addresses used by Redacted as this investigation continued with negative results. On August 2nd, 2022, reporting detective Biren received a call from the University of Chicago Police Department investigator Angel Martinez. Martinez advised reporting detectives that Redacted was in custody for traffic offenses and an arrest warrant. Reporting detective requested Martinez to transport Redacted to the 002nd District Female Lockup Facility for the investigation of the homicide that occurred on May 28, 2020. At 2010 hours, reporting detective Biren spoke to a possible witness named Redacted, advised reporting detectives that she agreed to be interviewed at Area 1. At 2025 hours, Redacted arrived at Area 1 and Detective Biren and Fronsnack interviewed Redacted. Redacted remembered the incident on May 28, 2022 on the 55 Redacted South Block of South Bishop. Redacted stated that she walked up to the house at 55 Redacted Bishop. Redacted stated that she had observed Richardson on the street shooting basketball with a boy in front of 55 Redacted South Bishop. Redacted stated that she walked into the house at 55 Redacted South Bishop and was talking to another female. Redacted stated that she was sitting in the front living room table at the front of the house. Redacted stated that from the front window she had a view of the front yard and front porch to that residence. Redacted stated that she observed another male, Redacted Derek Washington, and he had arrived and was standing at the steps of the front porch. Redacted heard him talking to a group of other people on the porch. Redacted stated that she did not hear arguing, just talking, so she was not alarmed. Redacted stated that she was playing on her iPad. Redacted stated that she did hear Lawrence Richardson's voice outside. After a short time, Redacted began to hear multiple gunshots. Redacted stated that she dove to the floor and went to the back of the house. The gunshots were right outside. Redacted stated that the moments after the gunfire stopped, Redacted returned to the front window to retrieve her phone and iPad. Redacted stated that Redacted then observed a girl standing over Redacted, stated that Redacted observed the Redacted bend down and pick up a gun from Redacted. The Redacted placed the gun under Redacted's shirt and walked towards Garfield Boulevard, out of her view. Redacted stated that she was about to walk out the front door, and as Redacted reached the front door, Redacted heard 3 more shots. Redacted stated that Redacted ran to the back of the house and out the back of the house. Redacted stated that Redacted went to the front of the house and observed Redacted and Lawrence lying on the ground and both were shot. Redacted stated that she observed the same Redacted who picked up the gun coming towards her and Redacted went to Redacted body. Reporting detectives requested Redacted to look at a set of photos concerning this case. Redacted stated that she would and agreed to be recorded during the procedure. Detective Barron requested Detective Razzoni to be an independent administrator to show Barry a photo array. This photo array included Redacted. Detective Razzoni conducted the photo array with Redacted as the person she saw pick up a gun from a person who was shot and put the gun under her shirt. See Detective Razzoni's Progress Lineup Supplementary Report for additional information. At 20:57 hours, reporting detectives notified the Cook County State's Attorney's Felony Review Unit, ASA Micah, called back and advised reporting detectives she will be arriving to Area 1. ASA Salonis arrived to Area 1 and reviewed this case. After reviewing reports, ASA Salonis conducted a oral interview with Redacted, freely and voluntarily agreed to memorialize a videotape statement. On August 3rd, 2022 at 0018 hours, ASA Salonos and Detective Barron conducted a videotape statement of Redacted. At 0032 hours, the statement was concluded. See Redacted video statement for additional information. At 0037 hours, ASA Salonias recommended this felony case be continued. felony case review be continued. Salunius requested detectives to interview the suspect, redacted a ballistics report for the recovered evidence, a copy of the official Cook County Medical Examiner's Office report of Lawrence Richardson's autopsy, locate any other possible witnesses, and any Illinois State Police crime scene workups of evidence which may have been completed. At 0015 hours, reporting detectives in Frontenac placed redacted into an interview room at Area 1. Detective Belrin read Miranda warnings from a pre-printed form to redacted. At 0117 hours, redacted requested a lawyer. Redacted was returned to the 002nd District Female Lockup. At 10:13 hours, reporting detective Belrin and Frontenac arrived at the Cook interview of redacted. At 13:24 hours, reporting detective Belrin and Frontenac arrived at redacted in order to interview possible redacted had called 911 on the day of the shooting. Redacted answered the front door and stepped out onto the front porch. Reporting detective Belrin advised redacted of the interview and redacted agreed to speak with reporting detectives. Redacted remembered the shooting. Redacted stated that he was on his front porch and observed Lawrence, also known to redacted as Sin, and Derek, also known to redacted as redacted, having a discussion in the front yard of the house next to his. Redacted knew these two men. This house was the address of occurrence, 55 Redacted South Bishop. Redacted stated that he believed the argument discussion had started because of drug sales being conducted by Redacted on that block. Redacted stated that he believed Lawrence had confronted Redacted about not selling on that block, that there were many kids on this block, and that Redacted had just moved on the block. Redacted stated that he then observed Redacted raise and point a gun at Lawrence. Redacted stated that he heard Lawrence say to Redacted, "What, you gonna shoot me now?" Redacted stated that Redacted was pointing the gun at Lawrence and that Lawrence was standing in between Redacted and Redacted. Thus, Redacted was pointing his gun towards Redacted front porch. Redacted ducked inside his front door and began to hear numerous gunshots and could hear bullets hitting his house. After the gunshots stopped, Redacted stated that he stepped out onto his porch and observed Redacted and Lawrence on the ground. Both appeared to be shot. Redacted stated that he observed Redacted bending over. Redacted stated that he observed Redacted having trouble holding the gun, and it appeared to Redacted that she was reloading the gun. Redacted stated that Redacted raised and pointed the gun towards Lawrence, which meant that she was also pointing the gun towards Redacted and his front porch. Redacted stated that he again dove back inside his front door for fear of being shot. Redacted immediately heard 3 more gunshots. Redacted stated that he observed Redacted run by his front gate with the gun in her hand. Redacted stated that he knew Redacted to live in the next building, which is a 3-flat, 55 Redacted South Bishop. Redacted stated that he called 911 and later observed Redacted return to Redacted body and attempted to do CPR on Redacted. At this time, Belrin asked Redacted to view a photo array at Area 1 and to be interviewed by an assistant state's attorney. Redacted advised reporting detectives that he could not do it tonight, but that he would come into the area the next day at 6:30 on August 4, 2022. Reporting detective Belrin gave Redacted his business card with contact information and advised Redacted that reporting detectives would meet him at 6:30 tomorrow. At 18:43 hours, reporting detectives called Felony Review Unit for the continued review of this case. Reporting detectives spoke with ASA Genovic at 2000 hours. Genovic continued this investigation and requested Redacted criminal history report, the ERI video of the interview with Redacted, and attempt to interview Redacted or any other witnesses. At 20:45 hours, reporting detective Belrin called another 911 caller, which was a Redacted stated that the Redacted stated that she heard multiple shots and observed smoke on the other side of the street just south of Redacted. The Redacted stated that Redacted observed 2 males on the ground and called 911. The Redacted stated that Redacted began to walk down the stairs and heard 3 more shots. The Redacted stated that Redacted did not see anyone shooting. Reporting detectives ended the interview. Reporting detectives believe this Redacted was the same Redacted wearing a neon green outfit as Redacted was on body-worn cameras on the day of the incident. This Redacted refused to give Redacted information. On August 4th, 2022, reporting Detective Froznak had arrived at Area 1 at 0600 hours. At 0626 hours, reporting detectives Belrin received a phone call on reporting detectives' work cell phone from Redacted related that he would not come to area to view any photos or speak with a state's attorney. Reporting detective attempted to continue to speak with Redacted with negative results. At 0637 hours, reporting detective contacted felony review. Between 0645 and 0748 hours, reporting detectives had conversations with ASA Christina Hake, who was with the deputy supervisor Andres Alamendrez. At 0748 hours, ASA Hake advised reporting detective that this investigation was to be continued in order to serve Redacted with a grand jury subpoena for witness testimony. At 0755 hours, reporting detective notified the on-duty 002nd District Watch Commander. Reporting detective related that the homicide investigation under RD number listed would be continued by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in order to locate a witness. Concerning CB, Redacted charges of first-degree murder and obstruction. Redacted was to be released without charge due to lack of an eyewitness at this time. Concerning CB, Redacted traffic-related charges and arrests. Redacted placed against Redacted from the University of Chicago Police Department. Traffic crash report. Redacted was sent to Cook County Jail. Court redacted. On August 8, 2022, at 1000 hours, reporting detective Beran arrived to the felony review at Redacted. Reporting detectives requested a grand jury subpoena to be issued for a Redacted for August 11, 2022 at 9 o'clock a.m. Reporting detectives completed a felony 101 form and ASA advised that they would email the subpoena. At 1539 hours, reporting detectives received the email with the subpoena. At 1700 hours, reporting detective Beran and Frosnack arrived to Redacted and Redacted answered the door. Reporting detective Beran served Redacted with the grand jury subpoena and advised Redacted of the date, time, and location of August 11, 2022, 9 o'clock at Redacted stated, "I will be there." Date, August 11, 2022, at 0900 hours, reporting detective Beran and Detective Green arrived at Redacted California room, Redacted grand jury room. Reporting detective notified ASA Hake and advised her of reporting detective's arrival. At 1047 hours, reporting detectives called and spoke with Redacted, advised reporting detectives that he would not be coming to testify. Redacted ended the phone call. ASA Hake was advised and reporting detectives agreed to wait until after 1 p.m. Reporting detectives asked ASA Hake if Redacted did not appear at the grand jury today, would the Cook County State's Attorney's Office issue an arrest warrant? ASA Hake stated that they would not issue a warrant. At 1430 hours, ASA Hake rejected any felony charge. In conclusion, reporting detectives and assisting detectives learned that Lawrence Richardson and Derek Washington had a verbal discussion while both were in front of 55 Redacted South Bishop. Both were in possession of firearms and fired said firearms at each other. This was learned through shot spotter results, firearm evidence at the crime scene, body-worn camera footage, and witness interviews. Redacted as picking up a handgun from Derek Washington and walking in the direction of where Richardson's body was lying. Redacted then observed Redacted holding a handgun, and pointing said gun in the direction of Richardson and in the direction of Redacted front porch. Both Redacted and Redacted heard 3 shots. Redacted observed Redacted run north of the sidewalk in the front of his gate towards her residence while holding a handgun. Redacted refused to cooperate with this investigation. At this time, reporting detective Beran is requesting that this case be considered exceptionally clear closed death of offenders due to the fact that both of deceased victims/offenders, Lawrence Richardson and Derek Washington, had brandished firearms and shot each other, thus causing their deaths as mutual combatants, and the fact that Cook County State's Attorney's Office rejected any felony charges against Redacted. Reporting Detective Beran. And that takes us to the end. Thanks for joining us today. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Peace.